Are you fucking kidding me? Don't be lighting that shit up in here. Take it outside, JoJo.
Everything set, Dalton?
Yeah, all good. Same plane, same pilot, same price.
Good.
Fuck.
You were one of us, you fucking rat!
Drop it, JoJo.
You murdered my son, you motherfucker! Your kids are fucking dead!
The movie opens with a gang of bikers named Outcasts approaching one of their clubs. Meanwhile, the DEA is tracking them, but they proceed to move inside, where they have a methamphetamine laboratory. The gang is led by Danny T., who approaches one of them, named Phil Broker, to organize the transportation of their drugs. They discuss which means to use, with Danny's son, named JoJo, present. Shockingly, outside, the DEA raids the place and moves in to start arresting the gangsters. The DA chief in command asks for a status update on his undercover agent, who turns out to be Phil Broker. Danny realizes that Phil is a snitch and runs away with his son. Phil carries one injured agent, but upon moving outside, the place explodes. Danny flees in a car, and Phil gets on a bike to pursue them. Shortly after, Danny meets a police roadblock and turns around, heading face to face with Phil, who is still on the bike. Phil suddenly slides off the bike and shoots at it, causing an explosion that destroys the car. Phil moves to the car to arrest Danny and shoots JoJo in the leg, so he drops his gun. Although other agents arrive and order JoJo to get down, he intentionally gets himself killed. Phil feels sad, but Danny blames him for his son's death. Heartbroken, Phil leaves the place. It is later learned that after serving in different departments and closing his last case, Phil resigned from the force. 2 years later, the scene jumps to a school where Maddie, Phil's daughter, is playing alone. Shortly, she is approached by Teddy Klum, who starts to bully her. He pushes her down, but she warns him twice before hitting him and breaking his nose. Phil has moved to a small Louisiana town where Maddie's deceased mother grew up. While doing woodwork with his friend Tito, he receives a call from Maddie's school. He drives there immediately and, upon arriving, finds Teddy being attended to by a nurse in the principal's office. Teddy's parents demand justice, but Phil is approached by a teacher named Susan Hatch. Teddy's mother, Cassie Bodine, tries to confront Phil but is taken away by the sheriff. Phil meets Maddie and asks her what happened. She explains, but Phil blames himself for teaching her self-defense. Phil and Susan share a moment together, and it is revealed that Maddie's mother had passed away not long ago. Phil relocated to Louisiana because Maddie was interested in horseback riding. Upon leaving, Cassie sends her husband, Jimmy, to attack Phil in revenge for Teddy. Jimmy confronts Phil, but Phil surprisingly takes him down, humiliating him in front of his family. The sheriff intervenes to break up the fight and later confirms to Phil that he is not in any trouble. He questions how Phil managed to defeat Jimmy, but Phil avoids answering, assuring him that no more trouble will happen. Phil meets Maddie, who informs him that the teachers witnessed everything. Cassie leaves with a scary expression, and on their way home, she insults Jimmy, calling him names. Jimmy defends himself, saying he lost his balance, but Cassie continues berating him. She declares that she will take the issue to her brother to deal with Phil, but Jimmy warns her to keep it within the family. Meanwhile, we are introduced to some gangsters playing music while smoking drugs. They are interrupted by another drug sociopath, Gator, who orders them to turn off the music and sends a 17-year-old girl away. He hits one of them and warns them not to cook meth again, even though they claim it's only for personal use. He forces them all to leave, threatening to burn them if he ever finds them there again. Back home, Phil praises Maddie's fighting skills and tells her he's proud she defended herself. She asks if he was scared before teasing him about his thoughts on Susan, the teacher from her school. Gator drives back home, and it is revealed he is Cassie's brother. She asks him to threaten Phil and Maddie and later requests drugs from him, as she is an addict. The following day, Phil spends time with Maddie and later goes to the school, where he asks Susan for help organizing Maddie's upcoming birthday. Susan suggests that he meet Teddy's parents and apologize to resolve the conflict. Phil drives to Jimmy's workplace to apologize. When Jimmy asks him to apologize to Teddy and Cassie as well, Phil agrees to keep things peaceful. However, on his way back, he stops at a gas station to refill his car. Suddenly, Gator's men arrive and provoke him, demanding the pump before he's done refueling. One of them turns off the pump and forces him to pay even though he wasn't finished. Phil ignores them and continues refilling, but the gang leader attacks him, starting a fight. Phil quickly defeats all the men in an unexpectedly skilled manner. After the fight, he demands to know who sent them, but the leader refuses to answer. Hence, while at his meth laboratory, Gator receives the bad news. On the other hand, Maddie asks Phil what happened to his hand, but he lies, saying he was working on something. Shortly after, the sheriff signals him to stop and requests a private talk. The sheriff informs Phil that they heard about an incident at a gas station, though no one is pressing charges. He inquires if Phil is military, but Phil refuses to disclose anything about his past.
Here's what you need to know, Broken. You have got my attention, son.
Gator arrives at Phil's house while Phil and Maddie are leaving for horseback riding. Unnoticed, Gator slashes Phil's car tire before sneaking inside. At the lake, Phil and Maddie share memories of Maddie's mother. Maddie becomes emotional, revealing how much she misses her mom. Phil comforts her, trying to ease her pain. Back at the house, Gator rummages through their belongings and takes one of Maddie's bunny dolls. He then searches a cabinet, finding files that reveal Phil's past. Hearing Phil and Maddie return, he quickly takes the files and hides, accidentally encountering Maddie's cat. That night, while working in his woodshop, Maddie approaches Phil, asking if he's seen her cat and bunny doll. Phil promises to help her search. Meanwhile, Gator studies the stolen files, discovering Phil's connection to the outcasts and his undercover mission that led to JoJo's death. Phil notices his slashed tire and, while searching for the cat, finds the bunny doll, cut up and tied to a tree. At a local club, Marie, Gator's girlfriend and a former biker with ties to the outcasts, receives a call from Gator, who demands a meeting. She agrees to see him in the morning. The next day, Gator reveals Phil's past to Marie, including his role in JoJo's death. Meanwhile, Phil confronts Jimmy, warning him to stay away from his house, suspecting he was behind the vandalism. Gator plans to hand Phil over to Danny in exchange for permission to distribute meth in the outcast's territory. Marie warns him that the outcasts can't be trusted, but Gator forces her to meet Danny's lawyer and finalize the deal. Phil gifts Maddie a new doll to replace the damaged one, and they plan to invite her entire class to her birthday party. Marie meets with Danny's lawyer, providing him with Phil's file. The lawyer delivers it to Danny, who, upon seeing Phil's photo, orders his men to eliminate him at all costs. Later, Phil and Maddie meet with Teddy and Cassie to reconcile. Maddie invites Teddy to her birthday party. While working with Tito, Phil learns that rumors about his fight with Jimmy have spread. He mentions the break-in, but Tito doubts Jimmy was involved, suspecting Cassie instead. Tito warns Phil about Gator, a boat mechanic by day, a meth cook by night. He reveals that the sheriff knows but is corrupt. Tito directs Phil to a cafe where Gator frequents but cautions him to be careful. At Maddie's birthday party, the turnout is great, and the day is joyful. Meanwhile, the outcasts confront Marie. Their leader, Cyrus, demands Phil's whereabouts, admitting they've been hunting him for years. Marie mentions Gator's demands, but Cyrus refuses to negotiate, threatening her instead. After the party, Maddie is happy seeing Phil and Susan talking. That night, Gator visits Cassie, warning her to stay away from Phil. Cassie, desperate for drugs, argues with him. Gator snaps, telling her to clean herself up. Teddy overhears their fight. Meanwhile, Phil contacts his old DA boss for intel on Gator. He receives information about Marie, who recently worked with Danny, receives a request for her photo. Phil moves to the cafe where Tito directed him. Upon entering, Tito points out Gator. Phil approaches Gator's table, but Gator immediately blames him for hitting Jimmy and Maddie hitting Teddy. Phil demands that Gator stay silent about any information he knows about him. He confronts Gator about the cowardly acts of slashing his car tire and destroying Maddie's doll, warning, "The next person to step on my property will be killed." Gator denies all accusations. As Phil leaves, he receives Marie's photo and realizes she was with Gator. He heads to Gator's workplace, a boat mechanic shop disguising a meth lab. Using his former DA agent skills, Phil searches the premises and finds meth cooking equipment and processed drugs. He rigs an electronic bomb trap set to explode when the lights are turned on. While leaving, Phil spots Maddie's cat. As he picks it up, one of Gator's men holds him at gunpoint. Phil disarms him instantly, but the cat bolts. During the chase, Phil is ambushed by the same man from the gas station. They torture him, beating and waterboarding him in revenge for their earlier humiliation. They mock Maddie, threatening to hunt her down. Enraged, Phil breaks free and brutally dispatches all the goons, ending the fight by kicking their leader unconscious. He escapes with the cat. Meanwhile, the bikers close in. Maddie is upset about relocating. Cyrus and his gang arrive at Gator's place demanding Phil's location. Gator, furious that Marie brought them there, reluctantly provides directions but refuses to join, wanting no visible involvement. The bikers head to Phil's house by boat, while Tito arrives to help Phil with the horses. The gangsters surround Phil's property. Tito hears strange noises and investigates. Near the stables, he ambushes a biker, and a vicious fight ensues. The biker gains the upper hand, but Tito impales him with a garden fork. Inside, Phil packs urgently as the bikers breach the perimeter. Tito sounds multiple owl hoots to warn Phil but is shot in the hand. Phil hears the gunshot and calls for Maddie. With the house surrounded, he ushers her downstairs, ordering her to hide until he returns. Armed, Phil prepares for the assault. Two bikers force the front door. Phil shoots one, triggering a chaotic firefight inside. Maddie is spotted and flees into the woods. Marie calls Gator, warning the situation has spiraled. As Phil battles the remaining bikers, one pursues Maddie. Phil intercepts, shooting the attacker just in time. Cyrus then engages Phil directly while Maddie runs to the shoreline, where Marie intercepts her. The fight between Cyrus and Phil intensifies. Marie manipulates Maddie into fleeing with her. Phil eventually overpowers Cyrus. But too late, Maddie is already kidnapped. Helpless, Phil watches Marie speed away with his daughter. Police arrive at the scene. Phil reports the kidnapping to the sheriff and tends to Tito's injuries. Suddenly, Maddie calls, describing Marie and her location. The police trace her phone. At Gator's hideout, Marie arrives with Maddie. Gator is livid, berating Marie for bringing a witness. He draws his gun to execute her, but Cassie and Jimmy arrive, inquiring about the shootings. Cassie mentions Maddie's disappearance, but Gator denies involvement. Marie attempts to sneak Maddie out, but Cassie hears her voice. Investigating, Cassie triggers Phil's bomb trap by turning on the lights, obliterating the meth lab. In the chaos, Cassie tries to protect Maddie, but Gator shoots her in the stomach and abducts Maddie. Phil arrives mid-chase, pursuing Gator's truck on the highway. Police block escape routes, but Gator evades them via a bridge. Phil's car crashes and overturns. Gator stops, exiting to confront Phil. The sheriff orders his men to hold fire to protect Maddie. As Gator aims at Phil, Maddie distracts him by calling out.
Do that! Just stop it!
Pop that trunk.
Please just stop!
Get the fuck in the car!
Just leave him alone!
Phil seizes the moment, tackling Gator and pummeling him mercilessly. He presses a gun to Gator's head but hesitates upon seeing Maddie.
She just saved your life.
Paramedics tend to Cassie as Phil and Maddie leave. In the epilogue, Phil visits Danny in prison, delivering a final warning. The movie ends. Thanks for watching. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe for more recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.